Welcome Zende Saab. Welcome everybody to the Bangalore International Center. Lovely to have you here. This is going to be a really fun conversation. I have to admit that when I accepted the invitation to talk to Zende Saab about this book, I was a little bit worried. It's not my usual genre. I saw the cover and I thought this is going to be really heavy reading. This is going to be dark stuff. Most Wanted. But when I was reading it, I actually read it with a smile on my face nearly the entire time and laughing quite often because partly because it's quite funny, and partly because the main feeling that you get from this book, to my surprise, is of deep affection for the city and for all of its inhabitants. And that I was expecting something, and that includes some affection I sense even for the antagonists of the story, the various gangsters who are who figure very large in this. Not for the key villain of this story, but we'll come to that later. The city really comes through this story, and it's not just the cast of characters you would imagine of film producers and beat cops and cabaret dancers, but there's also the peanut seller and a very important cobbler, and also a very important sugarcane wala. So I thought, let's start off by talking about the sugarcane wala. And just as a very small story to give you a sense of part of Zende Saab's experience and career, let's hear the story of the importance of a sugarcane wala.
It's a 1964 story. In Mumbai, there is a place known as Azad Maidan, where most of the circus pandals are put. And one afternoon, when I was traveling in a bus on DN Road from Retd to Fountain. And then I saw people running helter-skelter. And I just looked and I saw elephant running on road. I was shocked. Elephant, and people were quite scared. I didn't know. Actually, I immediately, I immediately stopped the bus. I got down, and I didn't know what to do because people were worried. The elephant running on main road of Mumbai. Fortunately, I noticed a sugarcane stall, a small handcart, and I immediately put the bundle of that sugarcane on that handcart and just place it in front of the elephant. And then the elephant saw the sugarcane, he started following me. I started in reverse and started pulling the cart, and in reverse only. I went up to Khadi Bandar. From there, we went to VN Road, and there's a custom house. Custom house is a big building, and there's a big gate. That gate looks like a circus gate. So I thought it's a nice opportunity. I just pushed that sugarcane cart, and the elephant went inside. And it was for that fort area is mostly all the newspaper was there. So Times published a big article next day that policeman saves the situation by controlling the elephant. So that's
So catching Mumbai's most wanted can mean a lot of things. It can mean Charles Sobhraj, a serial murderer and a very dark character, or it can mean a loose elephant. Now, I was told that a lot of people are going to want to hear the Charles Sobhraj story, but I don't think I'm going to let you have it because that's a key part of the book, and there is so much else to talk about. If you can maybe we'll take a vote later on and maybe it'll come up, but for now there's all kinds of fascinating characters in this, and of course Zende Saab is the centerpiece. Sir, one thing that really came through all of these stories is how much the police depends on its connection to people to other other people in the city?
Basically, I always believed that no policeman can be successful without willing and active support of the people that he serves. Without their support, you cannot do anything. We don't get imagination, we don't get dreams. So, unless somebody gives some information, we can't detect a case or solve any problem. See, best is I like to tell little bit of story of history of police. You know, in world, the best policeman is known as the Bobby. London police Bobby is known. But do you know why he is called Bobby? He's not called policeman. Actually, formerly also, London police used to carry guns and pistols and walk. But Mr. Peel, who was the Prime Minister, he conceived the idea that now the same thing has come in, you must have read in papers, Mane Manege scheme has, Karnataka government has started. So he told all his, he produced a unit which will help police. Actually, it is police seva, not police force. We don't feel that it is a force. It is a seva. And that concept, he told people that policeman should be a man who is helping the society. You must go and help this. So he gave some simple examples. Supposing you are patrolling in the area and you come to know that some lady who is old and is unable to get up and start make her tea, just go inside, make tea for her. Doesn't matter. In the supposing some lady every day reaches her daughter to school, that day she is not able to no time to reach that daughter, go to her and help her, take the daughter to school. So that is how the London people started liking these people, that they are very helping, very helpful. And this force was created, this service was created by Mr. Robert Peel. Robert's short form is Bob. So force created by Bob is Bobby. That is why London policeman is called a Bobby. So in Mumbai, when I joined in 1960, I met a mentor who gave me all the history of all the police in past. And I really liked that. I thought that I must be a policeman like this, who should be serving the people. And that is how actually when I was in Dharavi is a place where only jhopadpatti, nothing, only slums. And there's only one government office, that is post office, and the second is police office. There are no other offices. So if you are to go to hospital or go to school, there is no transport, nothing used to come to Dharavi. So when I was posted to Dharavi, when I used to go in the jeep and see children going, I used to call the children, put them in my jeep and drop them to school. I'd put up a board that whenever you want, during night time, if you don't get any transport, you can take police jeep and go to hospital. So that was people were thinking, "Ye naya police wala hai." He's helping so much. So that is how we started. I actually started serving people, and mostly there is always animosity कि वो सब मियाँ लोग है ना, वो सब 5-5 औरत करता है और उसको 25-25 बच्चा होता है. So I thought this is not correct. So I had put up a board कि एक भी मुसलमान जिसको 5 औरत है और 25 बच्चा है, ऐसा मेरे को लाके दो, मैं उसको 25,000 रुपीज का रिवॉर्ड देगा. And really, so always there is a complaint, वो क्या अजान सुबह करता है, they disturb our peace. तो हम बोला अभी वो तो 3 मिनट अजान होता है और वो भी क्या अल्लाह का नाम लेता है, अल्लाह अकबर बोलता है. तो आपका तो गणपति के फेस्टिवल में 10 दिन सुबह से रात को तक सब और पिक्चर का गाना, भगवान का नाम कौन नहीं लेता, पिक्चर का नाम ही लेता है. So I used to tell people that don't just say that Muslims are bad. They are not bad, they are our citizens. And that helped me in my future career. Because one thing I did when I was in Muslim area, I learned Urdu. Just for your knowledge, when I came to Bangalore, I found it very difficult to read the bus names and road names. And every time to go and ask somebody, what is name, where to go. So what I did was I went to a primary school, bought Kannada books, and I started reading and writing Kannada. Now I can read and write Kannada. And I always say, Kannada Matu Madura.
So all of you can do it too. Learn your
So
Kannada
that is
aksharas.
how I always associated with people, and people in turn helped me. That you will read the book, you will know how people were very good to me.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, there's a lot that I learned about regular policing from this, and especially in that era, from these stories. And the one thing that really stood out for me is that how valuable it is for the police when regular people come, volunteer to help, volunteer to provide information, and proactively offer what they see and
I
hear.
always used to tell my staff that people come to police station out of distress. They are in nervous mood. So generally policeman, if you go to police station, हमारा पाकिट मारा, बोला खुला रखेगा तो मारेगा तो नहीं कहेगा, क्या होगा? And generally 90% of the government officials एक तो देखता है कि आएगा तो उसको कटाने का कैसा, how to avoid him, और avoid नहीं होगा तो उसको काटने का कैसा. That is a general tendency of every government office that we generally feel. It's not good. So I used to say, first thing, as soon as somebody comes to police station, जैसा होटल में जाता है, कस्टमर आया तो मालिक बोलता है, छोकरा जरा फटका मारो, पानी दो. Similarly, I used to say, whenever somebody comes to police station, first offer him a glass of water, just pacify him. Don't do his work, but at least listen to him. He only comes to get some relief. And if you start shouting at him, it's not good. So this is when my staff started doing it, they found that there is a new type of policeman. He is helping like this. So that is how the news generally spreads. Ki ye acha officer hai. So good. And fortunately, I will tell you, because of this, I worked in Mumbai police for 37 years. After that, 33 years, I worked only in South Mumbai. I didn't pass Baikala because every time I was due for transfer, some boss will say, oh, Zende ko mere paas bhejo. He's doing good work. So that is how, if you do good work, it's always appreciated. You don't need any somebody to recommend you, nothing. Your attitude should be good. Thank you.
So let me ask you about one of the chapters of this book, which highlights different kinds of the different ways in which your positive attitude and your policing skills came through. And it starts off on a dark note because it is about a murder, and it is about a very don't want to use the word sensational, but a very troubling murder of a woman on a Mumbai local that took place in the 60s.
1980.
Oh, sorry, in 1980. And it remained unsolved for a very long time until that landed on Zende Saab's desk 2 years later, I think. And the part I want to draw out from this story, because it's a long story with a lot of investigative ins and outs, but the part I want to draw out is how those two regular people helped you out. First the tailor and then the cobbler.
See, Mrs. Shanta Devi was a professor in Andheri College, and she used to stay in Matunga. She used to travel by train every day. First class she used to travel. The afternoon, generally when you go to college to lecture, she was all alone in the first class compartment. And one robber entered that when she was alone, and he tried to rob her. Generally, ladies hand over whatever ornaments and then get escape. But she was very adamant lady. She refused to give anything. So that man started stabbing her, and she started shouting. And he got enraged. He stabbed her 25 times. And then so much blood flew that his entire clothes became dirty with blood. So then, as the Andheri station was coming, he pulled the chain and jumped out of this. When he jumped out, he realized that these are all fully soaked with blood. So he removed his pant and threw it there. And then while running, he also lost his chappals. So both these things, he went then without the pant. He was running. He had one friend. He went to his house and he got some clothes from him to cover himself. After that, there was a big sensation in the lady, a professor in alone in local was stabbed and murdered. She died because of injuries. So there was a very big sensation. And her husband was also Professor Narayan. He started Police tried to arrest so many people, but no, there was no clue. Then Mr. Narayan went up to the Mr. Antule, Chief Minister, and he persuaded him कि कुछ तो करो, हमारा केस डिटेक्ट नहीं होता है. Why nobody is doing anything? So, many question was asked in Lok Sabha also. The case was becoming difficult. Many suspects were caught, but nothing came out. Mr. Ribeiro was the DGP of the railways. He was trying himself. All renowned officers were trying to detect that case, but there was no clue at all. 2 hours passed like that. Then I was transferred in between. In 82, I was transferred to crime branch. So we had arrested one petty criminal who used to rob people of their wristwatches. And we recovered about 10, 15 wristwatches from him. But during that recovery, साहब ये घड़ी है मेरा मत लो आप. बोला क्या बात है? ये बोले साहब ये मैं चोरी नहीं किया है, ये मेरे औरत ने मेरे को मैरिज में प्रेजेंट दिया है. तो जनरली पीपल डोंट लिसन टू हिम. हम बोला ठीक है, वो बोलता है ना. तो वी केप्ट दैट वॉच असाइड. And
So the
after
police were going to confiscate all of his contraband watches and also the watch he was wearing, which was his personal watch,
personal watch.
which he
So-
which he didn't want to lose. His
So
personal
we
watch.
prosecuted him. He went to jail for 3 months. He came back, and he just came back and told me, "साहब मैं छूट के आया, अभी मैं ऐसा जिंदगी ऐसा नहीं करेगा करके." He just expressed that way. So I remembered that we had kept his watch aside. So I took out that watch and gave it to him. हम बोला ये साहब आपने सच्ची बाजू में रखा. बहुत साहब मेहरबानी किया, आपने मेरा शादी का घड़ी मेरे को दिया. This simple act, and he went home. After 2-3 days he came. साहब मेरे को एक बात बोलने का है. बोले क्या? आपने मेरे को इतना मेहरबानी किया ना, आप मेरे को एक ऐसा खबर देगा जो किसको पता नहीं है. बोले क्या है? बोले साहब वो शांता देवी का मर्डर हुआ था ना, वो उसमें वो जो मुजरिम था, वो मुजरिम मेरा दोस्त है. वो उसके बाद उसको पैंट भूल गया तो उसे फेंक दिया था. मेरे घर में आया, मेरे को बोला मेरे को पहनने को दूसरा लुंगी दो. तो मैं उसको लुंगी दिया और उसमें मेरे को बताया भी 4 उसने बंगड़ी लिया था और एक चेन भी था, वो मेरे को बताया. मगर अभी वो भाग के गया शेंदुरनी, जलगांव डिस्ट्रिक्ट में. वो गांव में उधर रहता है. तो आप अगर उसको पकड़ेंगे तो वो केस आपको डिटेक्ट होगा. हम बोला अरे मगर वो तो अभी उधर नहीं रहता. नहीं साहब वो है, मगर एक बात करना, प्लीज डोंट disclose to him about lungi, because if you say lungi, he will know that I have given you information. So then I sent my staff to Shendurni. We got that boy, Qayyum his name was. He was brought there, and then we started interrogating him. He said, साहब हम क्यों गले पड़ता है, हमने तो कुछ ऐसा नहीं किया. I have not done anything. Why you are involving me? Well, I am no way concerned. So we asked him to put on the pant. When he put on that pant, by that time 2 years he had become fat. So that pant was not fitting. देखो साहब पैंट तो मेरे को आता भी नहीं है. Then he had that chappal also. So I asked him to wear the chappal, but chappal fitted. So he says साहब ये तो 8 नंबर चप्पल है. बम्बई में 50% लोगों का तो they must have 8 नंबर चप्पल. हम खाए को मेरे गले पड़ता है.
So this is the important part.
हाँ.
Because you have your suspect, but you don't have evidence.
Yeah,
proving
there
that
are no evidence at all. But then I took that chappal and started observing. When I observed, I found that it was stitched, repaired. So I बोला repair करा तो then I had read that people have their own identity, they have their trademark. कि कुछ भी करता है तो उसका खुद का trademark होता है. So I realized that was stitched chappal. Then I called my staff. He was staying in Parkside, Vikroli, Jhopadpatti. So I sent my staff with a chappal and asked every this shoe repairers to see if he knows this chappal. Fortunately for us, one Mr. Shinde, ये बोला साहब मैं तो ये I know this chappal. ये बोले किसका चप्पल है? बोले बहुत सेठ आदमी का चप्पल है. बोले सेठ? Then they brought him to me. तो हम बोला ये किसका चप्पल है? बोले साहब ये आदमी है ना, ये मेरे को ईद के टाइम है भाई 20 रुपए की, उस दोस्त 80s, ये 20 रुपए का चप्पल नहीं है, उसका पॉलिश करने को मेरे को 20-25 रुपए उसने दिया था. तो हमारे लिए तो बहुत बड़ा सेट है ना, ईद के टाइम उसने दिया था और इसीलिए मैं उसको सेट ही बोलता हूँ कि 20 रुपए का चप्पल पॉलिश करने का 25 दिया उसने. हम बोला वो उसको पहचानेगा? हाँ क्यों नहीं साहब, हम कभी भूलेगा नहीं उसको, इतना बड़ा सेट हमको मिला. तो देन वी ब्रॉट हिम एंड देन एज सून एज ही केम, हाँ साहब यही सेट है. As soon as that man, then criminal realizes that I am exposed, he dropped down and then he confessed everything. By that time, Mr. Ribeiro had become the commissioner. And then government had declared a reward of 10,000 rupees for detecting that case. So I told that Mr. Shinde, आपने इतना बड़ा काम किया है, आप बोलो मैं आपको कितना पैसा चाहिए मैं आपको देंगा, मेरे को अभी 10,000 रिवॉर्ड मिलने वाला है. बोले साहब मेरे को रिवॉर्ड कुछ नहीं, एक चाय पिलाओ. मैं बोला वो नहीं. I observed that he was a warkari. Warkari means those who go to Pandharpur and wear that tulsi mala. And then I said, आप वारकरी है क्या? बोले हाँ, आई एम वारकरी साहब. मैं बोला आप पंढरपुर जाता होगा? हम बोला हाँ साहब, हम पैदल जाता है पालकी के साथ. और चल तो बोला तो दर्शन को 15-20 घंटा लगता है. हाँ बोले घंटा तो लगता है. तो बोला मैं आपने इतना काम किया है, मैं आपको एक चिट्ठी देता हूँ उधर का सब इंस्पेक्टर को. वो सब इंस्पेक्टर आपको ताबड़तोब दर्शन देगा, आपको रुकना नहीं पड़ेगा. बोले साहब हमको ऐसा वशीली का दर्शन नहीं मांगता है, मेरा भगवान का दर्शन मैं लाइन में जाके लेगा. I literally touch his feet. हम बोला आज इधर मेरे को खुद भगवान मिल गया. So that is how goodness made to somebody, it helps. And that is how I could solve this case, and our team got the reward of 10,000 rupees. So this only goodness always pays. That there is a lesson I learned. I was having same lesson, but I always followed that.
Thank you. Yes. Let me just check. Who's comfortable with how many people are? Is anyone here not comfortable with Hindi or not following Hindi in general?
No, in between I talk in Hindi. I can talk all the time English, but
Okay,
in
fine. Looks like we're
Bangalore,
okay.
I think everybody understands a little bit. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ adjust ಮಾಡಿ.
So I love this story. Among all the fabulous stories in this book, I love this story because it begins with you offering a little bit of mercy and consideration to someone who's broken the law, and then in return getting their help in the largest, most important case you could possibly wish for. And then in the second round, it requires you observing that a cobbler's stitch could be something that is so distinctive to one craftsman that if you showed it to enough cobblers, that they would recognize their own work, which to me was just a tremendous insight.
Thank you.
And a fantastic way of understanding and the ways police might understand the people they are policing differently. And since you mentioned Mr. Julio Ribeiro, who's the legendary DGP and at some point I think Commissioner of Police for
Commissioner
Bombay.
of Police, then DGP of Gujarat, DGP of Punjab. Afterwards, because of his good work, government gave him the ambassador of Romania.
Yeah. Oh, I
He
didn't
was
know.
he's one of the most popular policemen, Mr. Julio Ribeiro, all over the India. He was very popular.
So Mr. Ribeiro just published a review of this book in Scroll, and among other things, he said, an aspect of Zende's character and mental makeup attracted me tremendously. He believed in service to the people. In pursuit of this principle, he kept contact with citizens in the localities entrusted to him, and it served him well during times of civil unrest. Which brings me to another very important chapter in this book, which I now realize is the reason that I wanted to read it. Because for me, for my generation, I think, the memory of the 1992 and 93 riots in Bombay was very profound and very disturbing. It really shaped our generation. And I'm not sure that I really saw the police as I never saw the police point of view in terms of those riots. We may have gotten, in my field, we may have gotten the other point of view in which the police were accused of maybe supporting certain parties, or you'll remember better than me. But your account of managing the riots was very useful to me, because you were managing an area that was very troubled, that was Muslim dominated,
Yes,
and in which
Bindi Bazaar
you
area.
and in which you were very anxious to avoid violence, but it was very difficult. It was a difficult challenge, and you had to put your own safety at risk in order to contain the violence that day. So I'm not going to ask you to tell that story, but I want to ask you just to talk to us about your view on this kind of this difficult communal problem, particularly in Bombay. You know, the 92 riots were this defining riot, and um, and for many people, they still see it as a great, a very troubling sort of memory. Tell us how you view the communal question in Bombay and what your attitude to it was. Also, you know, you being a, a true blue Marathi speaking policeman, some of us would look at you and think that you would have some prejudices that you don't have.
No, as I explained to you, I used to tell people that there is nothing like community or human beings are good human beings. There are bad people in Hindus, there are bad people in Muslims, there are every community. But by and large, generally people are good, and you must look at them as a good citizen. And that is why many times I was posted in Muslim areas just to have close relations with them. I read little bit. I learned all the five basic principles of Islam. Then I started reading Urdu as I learned Kannada here in that locality. I kept on master and I learned Urdu. So that news spreads. You see, what happened? I was in Muslim area, and during Ramzan, that people in that locality kept a blood donation camp. आता in Ramzan, who will come and give blood in the afternoon? So there was nobody. I was only on the stage. I was the chief guest, and nobody there. So then something came to my mind. I took the mic and started saying कि इस्लाम के जो 5 वसूल है इसमें अभी रमजान का पाक महीना है, तो ये महीने में जक़ात देना पड़ता है. जो बरस में हम वट एवर यू अर्न ड्यूरिंग ईयर 2.5% उसमें से देना पड़ता है. वी हैव टू गिव टू चैरिटी. अभी आदमी लोग तो बाहर काम करता है, ही गोज आउट एंड अर्न्स एंड स्पेंड्स मनी एंड फ्रॉम दैट ही कैन गिव जक़ात. बट औरत लोग तो घर में बैठता है, वो दे डोंट गो आउट एंड अर्न, तो उनको जक़ात कहाँ से देंगे? मगर बोला आप रोज खाना खाते, वो आप खून कमाते, तो उसमें से अगर आप एक बटली खून देंगे तो अल्लाह को आपको मंजूर होगा. तो बोले मैं खाली तकड़ी नहीं करेगा, पहले मैं ब्लड देगा. एंड आई गेव ब्लड, seeing that many burqa clad ladies came and 25 ladies donated blood that day. And then Urdu press next day published a big thing. Zende साहब ने जक़ात का नया अर्थ सिखाया. So this type of that, and you know, these news spreads कि वो एक अच्छा आदमी है, ये इंसान, इसको ऐसा दिल में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि हिंदू मुस्लिम कुछ नहीं है. And उसका the best effect in my life, I have done many good things, but according to me, the best thing I have done in my life is on 6th December, Babri Masjid failed. And after the fall of Babri Masjid, I was working in Paidoni, which is a very Muslim-dominated area. And then the 7th, they all came on road and they started stopping the traffic and actually breaking the Hindu shops in that, bring out the goods and started burning. And they were all पुलिस, आप पुलिस इधर क्यों है? वो बाबरी में गया, उधर हमको मस्जिद बचाया नहीं, इधर क्यों आता है? तुम भाग जाओ इधर से. They were very much against police. And in that, I got a message that in there was police chowki in one small lane, Suleiman Chowki. There one constable was stabbed by some riotous person. He gave a control room call that I am stabbed, I am injured. So they sent a wireless vehicle with 10 constables and one officer to help him. So while the vehicle was going to help him, they started pelting stones heavily. So as they were pelting stones, that officer, he opened fire just in the air. Because of that, people got so much enraged. ये बोले हमारा उधर मस्जिद गिरा है, कुछ नहीं किया और इधर हम लोग को मारता है, ये पुलिस बदमाश है, पुलिस हमको इधर मांगता ही नहीं है. And they actually, they all came down, they surrounded the vehicle and put big stones and drums, planks, so that the vehicle will not come. बोले अभी तुम कैसा बाहर जाएगा, हम तुमको सबको जला डालेगा. Actually, we were 10, 15 officers, many at the JJ junction, about 500 yards away. And there were hundreds of people on the road. And they were all armed with sticks, bottles, stones, everything. And then it was very difficult to decide what to do. If we open fire, if we kill two, three people by firing, by that time our vehicle will be burned and we'll lose about 10 constables' lives. It was a very critical situation. But I had very good rapport with the people there. So I approached those riotous people and requested them कि बाबा प्लीज उनको बचाने का है तो यू हेल्प मी. बोले साहब वो फायरिंग करता है. मैं बोला वो फायर नहीं करेगा, कुछ नहीं करेगा, तुम मेरे साथ आओ और गली के लोगों को समझाओ कि भाई ये कांस्टेबल्स को छोड़ना है. बोले साहब अकेला आएगा. बोला मैं अकेला आता हूँ, तुम मेरे साथ चलो, रिवॉल्वर बाकी बाजू में रखता हूँ, तुम मेरे साथ चलो, वो लोग को समझाओ. And because I had good rapport with the people, about 100 people accompanied me, and we started going towards that place. And all the time I was saying terror, terror, terror करके ऐसा करके. Fortunately, we'll show that photo also. Fortunately, and we went there. उधर लोगों ने देखा अरे झंडे है ना, उसको सुनना चाहिए. And they released that vehicle. And the driver was so much frightened, he couldn't turn the vehicle. In reverse only he took the vehicle. About 400 yards we went, and then actually he was so frightened that he overturned the vehicle. But they were all saved. And then they all started, साहब आपने मेरा जान बचाया, जान बचाया. It was a big thing. That even my commissioner said, how could you do it? I said, sir, it's all goodness with the people. They believed me, they had faith in me, and they listened to me. So that was actually, that got a lot of publicity. After 32 years, I am now settled in Pune. I was walking for morning walk. One man came and caught my feet. बोला क्या क्या करता है, what are you doing? साहब हम पहचान नहीं मेरे को. बोला नहीं, I don't know who you are. बोला साहब I am now retired as ACP, but that time I was sub-inspector. You trapped in that van, and I am alive only because of you. Then he called his some guest, his friends, उधर ही रास्ते पे मेरे को फ्लावर बोके दिया, शाल पहनाया. And that is how the officer, after 32 years, he came and paid respects to me. So these are very pleasant moments.
There's one detail that you didn't mention, which is in my memory, which is that after you got the rioters to allow you through and to bring the police van in so that you could evacuate the wounded, the injured police officer, as the van was coming out, it got stuck in a pothole.
It got turned.
And so then all the rioters came together and helped pull the van out of the pothole. And then it got out. And once they were out of the locality, the bus fell over. And everyone... And I think
can we show that once?
We'll play it at the end, and then you could even maybe...
Because unless you see that, you don't realize how dangerous the situation was.
Yeah. Well, I've reported on some riots, more recent ones in Delhi, and I'd really like to talk to you about how things may have changed in terms of police relationships and the style of policing. Or maybe, I wonder, is there something special? Do you think there's something special about the Mumbai police compared to other police forces in the...
Mumbai police is generally treated as the next to Scotland Yard. They are good reputation. And that reputation we have maintained. See, there's a story goes long back. Mr. Frank Souter was the commissioner of police for 28 years in Mumbai, from 1893 to 1925. He really, actually, he was our ideal. Those days, Mumbai, new mills were coming up. And people used to come from Uttar Pradesh for doing the mill work. And they were weavers. It's called Julai. In Hindi, it's called Julai. So Julai Kamgar, they used to come. And there's a big Maidan, Julai Maidan. So all Julai people used to stay there. And there used to be a lot of fights. So it was Mr. Souter who suggested to government that if we give houses to people, they will not fight. So he told the government that we must have a scheme which will give houses to people. So government asked him to prepare a scheme that was known as BIT, Bombay Improvement Trust Scheme. And so many chawls were prepared for residing these mill workers in those chawls. So right from Baikala to Mazgaon, all the chawls, hundreds of chawls are erected where people were housed. And that is how he stopped the fights in Mumbai and became very popular commissioner because he started something good. So there are many people who used to do. When Mr. Sardar Mir Abdul Ali was such a good policeman that he used to have a lot of informants. They used to come and tell everything, all the information before crime is committed. So he was so popular that the Raja of Baroda, he tried to poison the resident of that time in, I think in 1901 or 2. So that investigation, the government that time decided that because he is a very nice person, he decided that he should be sent there. And then he was sent to Baroda to investigate that case. His investigation, the Maharaja realized that he is going to involve me correctly. So he offered him that time 40 lakhs of rupees to him. He refused to take that, and he submitted report to government by which there was no conviction for the king. But he was abrogated because of this report of Mr. Sardar Mir Abdul Ali. Actually, he was awarded just like a Padma Vibhushan. Is Sardar Rao Sahib, Rao Bahadur, or Khan Sahib, Khan Bahadur, and above that is Sardar. So he was awarded award of Sardar, and he was given 150 acres of land in Manchar. So that time, these are the big examples. Mr. Harry Bruin was a very, very good inspector. So when Chafekar murdered in Pune, that investigation, they were not, Chafekar were not giving out anything. So government sent this Mr. Harry Bruin to Pune for investigation this case. Harry Bruin investigated this case very nicely. When government told Mr. Bruin that involved Tilak in that. So he did
Zende
complete.
Saab, you'd better save this one for your next book. The history of Bombay police.
No, it's a very small incident, I'll tell you. And then Mr. Harry Bruin submitted report, but he refused to involve Tilak in that. After that, the case, these staffmakers were convicted, everything was ended. But after Mr. Harry Bruin died, Tilak on 1st August 1905 wrote an editorial that I am not writing, actually, inspector is a very small rank for me. He was a national leader. To write an editorial for him is not good. But I am writing this because we want, when we become independent, we want inspectors like Bruin who will be very, very upright, who will not surrender to any pressure and give this correct thing that we should have inspectors like this. So Mr. Tilak wrote an editorial for inspector in 1905. So that is a reputation of Mumbai police. I am one of the soldiers of that good reputed police force.
I have many questions, but before we move further into the evening, I want to make just two observations about the book. One is that it does, with a very light touch, it does make very good, very fascinating connections between the larger events taking place in the country and the political economy of Bombay and what that means for crime and for policing. Things that I'd never understood about the connection between the emergency, for instance, the emergency of 1975, and what effect that had on smuggling, what the effect of that was on the crime rings and the gangs in Bombay. Similarly, the effect of the balance between labor politics and strikes in the Mumbai mills. All of this has deep implications for how people live and therefore for how crime emerges in the city, which the book captures very nicely. The other thing that I want to say is that this book is, congratulations, it's really well written. It is a pleasure
Actually
to read.
written by my son.
Yeah. I got a feeling that it's a
Actually,
family project.
this book was first published in Marathi, and then when HarperCollins approached me, I thought my son is a better writer. I gave it to him, so his name also appears as a writer. He wrote this very nicely. He has written. Credit goes to my son, Jay.
Put up your hand, Jay. It's a pleasure to read. It's effortless. It is a very inviting, light read that is not that's not mired in any of the crime and violence, and has no hostility. This is what I love about it. There's no hostility in it. There's almost a kind of joy about policing, which is not really how I've ever viewed the profession before. And I believe your granddaughter was one of your proofreaders. So
Yeah, she read my book 5 times. And she's going to thank everybody for coming after this.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you whether it was your decision to describe, to use the phrase sugar daddy for Charles Sobhraj, or whether the phrase "we don't roll like," no, that's not how we roll, might be from you or from someone else in your family. But I guess that was Jay. But yeah, really a pleasure to read, and just
Thank you.
And I actually want to encourage everyone who wants an enjoyable read to pick it up, because you will actually read it. It's that kind of book. Right. What should we talk about next? There's so much. I feel like giving you a better sense of the kinds of stories that are in it.
I would like to share with you,
Please.
because I have arrested almost every known criminal except Daud, because I had arrested Daud's brother's murderers. So he had a lot of love for me, because he was searching for those murderers for 2 years. He couldn't do it, but I was able to catch them. So I had arrested most notorious criminals, Haji Mastan twice. I arrested Karim Lala, and almost all the known criminals of Mumbai in my 37 years I had arrested.
I was going to say,
good part of that life is, you see, I had arrested Mastan second time for Misa. After I retired, I was going with my wife in a furniture shop. So one man came, Salam Sab. बोला क्या साहब मैं दाऊद. बोला तुम किधर दाऊद है? साहब वो दाऊद नहीं, मैं मस्तान भाई का ड्राइवर है. तो बोले क्या बात? साहब एक बात बोलना था. क्या? बोले साहब क्या है? वो माहिम से आप जाते हैं ना स्कूटर, आई ऑलवेज टू गो ऑन स्कूटर. वो स्कूटर पे जाते हैं ना, हम लोग मर्सिडीज में आते थे. भाई बोला इसको ओवरटेक मत कर, बाजू के गली में से निकाल. इतना भाई आपको इज्जत करते. So even criminals, they have them. So these are happy moments that you have done something good. You feel happy.
so I'm going to invite all of you to ask your questions in a minute. But meanwhile, since we have a true expert here, please give us some practical advice. What is your advice for anyone when they have to approach the police and ask the police for help? We're all afraid, because the truth is we're all afraid of the police force, and that's a sad
It's
reality.
a very sad part of life. But you have to, when you are in difficulty, you must go to police. Unless you go, and unless you go to doctor because you are feeling not good, you go to a doctor. Similarly, you are in difficulty in law, you must go to police. And it's duty of, fortunately, this chief minister has started this money scheme. Only yesterday it is published, I think, in all newspapers. So policemen, generally, most of them are good. There are very few bad policemen. I'll tell you an instance. In Pune, one lady was going early morning, and chain snatchers snatched her chain. So good two smart people, black belts, they followed that man, caught him. So when they caught him, he took out knife and tried to stab them. But they were very expert. They unarmed him and took him to police station. And then when they went there early morning, 6 o'clock, the Havaldar was sleeping. So they thought कि अभी हवलदार को कैसा जगाएगा. तो बोले अच्छा है वो चिल्लाएगा अपने ऊपर, उसको हमको क्यों जगाया. They left the criminal and बोले वो हवलदार को उठाने से अच्छा है ये criminal को छोड़ दो. So that is how people are very much afraid of police. We should not be there. You must go and assert your right. And if there is always a thing, if junior policeman doesn't ask, you go to the higher man. you go to the inspector in charge, you go to the ACP in charge, you go to the DCP, and there is a provision that if the police inspector doesn't record your complaint, then you can go to the superintendent of police or deputy commissioner of police, and he is bound to record your complaint personally himself and take action against the officer who was negligent. So these provisions you must know, and you all police citizen must know that there is something like right of private defense. You are permitted to use force to prevent crime, and you, in some cases, you are permitted even to cause death of a person. Supposing somebody is trying to rape a woman and she is shouting, you go there, find it, you can kill that man, and law protects you. These are the fundamental rights that you, or somebody has entered your house and he is trying to rob your house, trying to kill you, you can kill that man. These are the fundamental, the basic rights which are given by law to you. You should be aware of that. Use your right of private defense, and you will be safe.
The book does give some more context for the right of private defense and why, and the situations in which it's important. But all of you should use it with discretion, I think.
Congratulations, Zende Saab. Your book was very inspiring and captivating. In fact, it was a very entertaining read, much better than a lot of thrillers that I've read. So thank you for sharing your experiences. My question is, there's a lot of political interference in, the police, the functioning of the police. So, but you being a very upright officer who took your own decisions, have you had any instances where, you couldn't uphold the law or, continue with your service in public interest due to any political interference?
Nowadays, political influence has increased. When I retired 30 years before, that time it was not there. But when I arrested Arun Gawli, Arun Gawli is a very notorious criminal of Mumbai. One Congress head of the Intak, he telephoned to, and then my staff said, "Sir, wo Intak ko Jagtap साहब का phone है." So I went and took the phone. बोला कौन बोलता है? मैं जगताप बोलता हूँ. I am Jagtap. बोला साहब the Intak president. Yes, Intak president. बोला साहब my hands are trembling. I am a small inspector. I can't talk to such a big man. So you better come talk to commissioner. I am a very small man. I can't talk to you. And I had to put on the phone. So, so that is how. And then I had no occasion, any occasion for political interference. But now I don't know what things are there. Things are all changed.
Just stand up and ask, please.
Zende sir, first of all, I must salute you for, I think, your excellent memory. And perhaps that's one of the key ingredients of your, so much of success. My question was very similar to his about this political interference. And very quickly, what I want to tell you is even in your times, I mean, I just finished watching a serial called this Hunt. It was, a capture of that Shivrasan, Rajiv Gandhi's, murderer. So there, at the end, I don't know people who have watched it, they waited for some 38 hours because of political interference. And they said that, the cyanide neutralization capsule, it had expired 7 days back. So they waited for fresh supplies from Dehradun. And because of that, they committed suicide and they couldn't catch them alive. So I think even in your times, there are a lot of, political interference. And I don't know how you dribbled through all that. But of course, maybe it's much more now. But I don't know if there is any solution police as an entity has found to, bypassing this political.
If you are upright, no politician, at the most what he will do, he will transfer you. You should not be afraid of transfer. Whenever you go, you will get your pay. So unless you are afraid of your this thing because of your interest, you want to favor that man. Many times, in case any political says, "Ye karo," you say, "No, sir, I can't do it. It's not against law." Now you see recent judgment. You have seen if you go to the judgment, this Bombay local bomb blast. All the 13 people were convicted and 5 people were to be hanged. The High Court found that everything was concocted. If you read the Supreme Court judgment, everything was concocted. People were made to make false statements because only of the political pressure. If you are upright, you should say, I will not do it. Maximum what you will do? You can't dismiss that man. You can only transport. Anywhere you have to go and work. Unless you yourself are upright, then you can do anything you like.
I think you should do some of these events for a police audience of current serving people. I think that
It
truly.
is useless. They don't listen. You see, the bad people are bad people. You can't change a man. You must have a basic thing is attitude. You must have attitude. You have entered this force just to help people, then you will be a very good policeman. If you have come here to make money and enjoy luxuries, then you will be a bad policeman. So everybody who is entering police force, he should have a good attitude that I will help people. मैं तो पुलिस का सेवा करेगा, जनता का सेवा करेगा. And then, as I said in the beginning, no policeman can be successful without willing and active support of the people. When people will give support, if you are good to them, they will give support. So it is up to you policeman to give good service, and in turn, society will give him good returns.
Now, let me just jump off that question to ask you a slightly trivial question. Do you watch police TV shows? And
No.
do you find them to be good or not?
Unfortunately, for last 20 years, I don't have TV in my house. I don't watch TVs. And I have not entered a police station after I retired. Because generally, police में अभी आया तो कुछ काम करने को मुफ्त में करने को आया होगा, तो generally they neglect. No present working officer in any department, nobody likes a retired man to come and influence him. So I have decided that I will not enter police station for anything. And I also have very bad experience. When my phone was lost, he says, oh, mostly they will not record your complaint. So I went and told him, my phone चोरी हो गया. तो बोले बाहर जाओ, उधर एक टाइपिस्ट है, उसके पास से एफिडेविट करके लाओ कि क्या तुम्हारा फोन घूम गया. बोला घूम नहीं, चोरी हो गया. नहीं वो तुम उधर से you get type letter that I have lost my, because he doesn't want to record it as a. Then I told him, बाबा मैं तो पुलिस वाला था. और मैं उसके पूछा कि I want to meet your inspector. बोले why inspector? What do you want to do? ऐसे तुम क्या हमको कानून सिखाता है क्या? हम बोला हम तुमको नहीं, तुम्हारे इंस्पेक्टर भी कानून सिखाया. So as soon as I told him this, तो बोले तुम कौन? Then I told him who am I. Immediately he got up. अरे साहब पहले बोला था ना, पहला बोलना था ना. वो immediately took my complaint, उसका कॉपी निकाल के आया, सर्टिफाइड कॉपी. अरे साहब कुछ चाय पिलाओ, चाय पिलाओ. So that type of, when they know that you are somebody, they will respect you. Otherwise they'll try to avoid you.
So you don't watch TV.
I don't watch TV. I don't have TV in my house.
So how do you pass your days and what fills your
Early
days?
morning, I stay in Koramangala. When I'm here, I used to walk up to this Indiranagar metro station from Koramangala, about 6 kilometers, and go back 12 kilometers. Otherwise, if I don't go out for walk, I do about 3 hours exercise every day. Now I am 88 years old and I am still fit. I read a lot of books and I solve Sudoku. About 3 extreme Sudokus, and then I play with my grandchildren. And I am a very happy and satisfied person.
I think there's lots of questions now. In fact, lots of questions. So
Yeah.
go
Zende
ahead
sir,
and
thank
and
you for your service to
Yeah.
Bombay City. And one question I wanted to ask is, how do you navigate these jurisdiction problems, especially considering many of your high-profile arrests were wanted not just in Mumbai but everywhere else? So how do you work around jurisdiction? Do you get help from?
There is
other
a
departments?
strict order from all
Lawyer?
governments that once a person comes to police station, you must record his complaint. And then if in case it is jurisdiction, is other jurisdiction, send that complaint to that police station. But you should not shuttle people from here and there. But generally, you see, everybody has an attitude to avoid work. As I said in the beginning, इसको कटाने का कैसा, कटा नहीं तो काटने का कैसा. That is the attitude of all government servants.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful evening. For a lot of us who only probably see Mumbai police in, films or just पुलिस थाने के बाहर से बोर्ड देख के लगता है इसके अंदर कभी जाने का काम नहीं पड़ना चाहिए. This was an amazing, very interesting session. So thank you. My question to you, sir, is as a woman who is not in her hometown, in a big city, away from her roots, her family, her support system. And I'm speaking on behalf of me and a lot of other girlfriends I have in the city who are working professionals. Just in case there is an issue of cybercrime, just in case there is a lost phone, just in case there is a stalker who is trying to, and that stalker could be your Ola cab driver themselves. What would you suggest as the immediate set of measures if going to police station is not an option at that time and you don't necessarily want to compromise with your privacy because you don't want that person to later figure out it was you and come back?
Now government has started this practice of cybercrime reporting. There are cyber police stations. You can report online. You can always report crime online. And then officer, actually there are orders that if a lady, there is one important aspect of crime which this law I want to tell you, that no policeman can call a lady or a child of boy of 15 years old to police station for any recording statement. It is mandatory that policeman must visit the house of the person, of the lady or the person and record his statement. It is a mandatory provision. The old law is 160 of the criminal procedure code. Now law is changed. 160 says that whenever police want to record a statement of lady, generally they say रात को नहीं जाने का. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Day or night, policeman must go to a lady's house to record a statement under 160 of criminal procedure code and to record statement of a child who is 15 years old. That is a basic provision of law. But 95% of the policemen don't observe this law. And nobody bothers about it. What can you do? Laws are there, but people are just neglecting it.
Please go ahead.
Congratulations, Zende Saab, on your book. It appears to be very favorably received. I just wanted to ask you if you can throw some light on a concept called citizen's arrest. A police officer colleague of mine once years ago told me about citizen's arrest.
Citizen direct?
Citizen's arrest.
Whether the citizen
India.
has the power to carry out an arrest.
Yes, you have power to carry out arrest in non-criminal cases and hand over to the police. If you see some crime, cognizable crime, punishable for more than 3 years, you have right to arrest anybody and hand over to the authority. This right is very much there with.
Is it so? Would it not be?
No, you see somebody committing crime, you are authorized to detain him and hand him to police.
Hello, sir. So for someone who's worked on such high-profile cases and who believes in working with closely with people, how far do you think media trials and public outrage affects trajectory of such high-profile cases?
I can't.
What is the power of the media and media trials and the judgment?
Media
rendered by
trial
the
is all
media?
nothing, not legal at all.
Yes, sir, so that's-
there is no provision of law in anywhere of media trial.
But does it influence the police's work? Does it restrict the police's freedom?
As I told you, policeman should do his work according to law and the powers vested in him. These influences should be neglected. As political influence can be neglected, superior's pressure on you should be neglected, this honey trap should be neglected. You should do your work diligently, and if you do work your part well, there all the honor lies.
But so the chapter about the murder of the professor on the local train. Obviously, in that as you say yourself in that chapter, the pressure and the demand of the media for justice helped to keep the wheels turning.
You see, in spite of all the efforts, even in spite of the chief minister declaring, unless you get information, you can't detect a case. You must get information, and information you can't get dreams. Somebody has to come and help you, give information, then only, or your observation. Now there is a lot of improvement. There's so many cameras everywhere. Now you got your SIM card can be traced. You are going anywhere immediately. Your activities can be traced. Fortunately, these policemen have this scientific help. In those days, we never had this help. For tracing a telephone call, you have to go to the central telegraph office to register your telephone. Those were the days that we work. You will see that Sobhraj case I will explain. So now there's a lot of advancement. AI has come. Then all the cameras are fitted all over the city. You got the SIM card tracing. So a lot of improvement has come that helps to detect cases early.
But I think the stories are much better when policing involves less technology. And one of the pleasures of reading these stories is that it's set in a world of what now seems like a very low-tech world, where the investigative methods and the they have that good detective quality to them. Yeah. Whereas now, I think a lot of these would involve heavy-duty
But
CCTV.
now, see, this cyber crime has come, and police are unable to recover the money, because if you lose pickpocket 100 rupees gone, you are worried. But now lakhs of rupees go in 1 minute. So a lot of different crime is being committed, and we have to face that. I am not aware how the present police will be able to solve these problems, because the biggest crime is today cyber crime. When you lose lakhs of rupees in 2 minutes, just you give a OTP, no, money is gone, and all the authorities are trying to find out how to recover this lost money. Your money goes to South Africa, your money goes to Australia. You don't know how to recover it. There are very difficult times that present police may be facing.
Yes, I think you're right. And I think part of the solution there is that it's going to be very important for citizens to educate themselves proactively about how these crimes are committed, so that they don't, especially with AI becoming part of the program there. Okay, I think I'm just going to ask we're just going to take two more questions, but there are a lot of hands up. Maybe you can all ask your questions, and then Zende Saab can answer them all together. Or two at a time, maybe.
Okay, so I wanted to follow up with what he asked is, if there is a crime we see is about to happen, I think most or all of us would ideally like to stop and prevent that from happening. But the problem is that there is always a fear that what would be the implications on us? How will we be caught up, and how do we really prove that this crime was about to happen? So, if you could guide us, I think that would be really helpful for all of us.
Is that something that you want to get involved in regularly? Just doing a little bit of crime fighting yourself?
Yeah, I don't live here. I live in US. I'm just visiting here. Sorry. But I would like to, try if I can.
Just whether citizens should really involve themselves in stopping crimes as they see it happen, or whether it's dangerous, whether it can
actually this is a fundamental right granted to you by the Constitution and by law, that you have got every right to prevent crime. You can prevent crime, and for that is why right of private defense is there. If you are protected, if you use force, necessary force to prevent crime, you are permitted by law, and law protects you.
But you might need to leave for the US sooner than you had planned.
Yeah, he mentioned in the beginning that he didn't read any animosity towards all the people that you had caught, or most of them. I wanted to know if you would later meet them, all these high-profile people that you had arrested, and how was their attitude to you? Did you face any? When you had encounters.
I gave you a simple example of Mastan. Though I had arrested him twice, he was convicted. But if you are good to people, even to criminal, then generally they don't have any animosity towards you. Actually, in that book, actually, when that Babu Reshim was murdered in lockup in Jacob Circle, I was in charge of that area. So Arun Gawli gang, they wanted that they should attack me because I permitted this murder to happen. But their gang leader, Mr. Rama Naik, he told them कि 2 बरस पहले there was a case wherein somebody had offered him 2 lakhs of rupees for arresting me, but he refused to arrest me. So he is a very straightforward man. You should not do anything to him. And that is how even criminals have their own conscience, their own this thing. And he prevented them from doing any harm to me. So criminals always are.
Also, this is another selling point of the book. If you've ever been, I was never really clear on all the different characters whose names we hear, who was Haji Mastan versus Dawood versus Chota Rajan, versus all of these, notorious characters of lore in Bombay. In just 1 or 2 chapters, you'll get a very clear understanding and survey of the underworld of Bombay in those decades.
I'm curious to know, how do informants protect themselves, or how do you all protect them? Because it's very risky to come and reveal.
We generally never expose our informants. We never try to leak out who has given information. As I told you the story, that Lungi fellow, I never disclose his name to. So it is, you must keep the promise to your informants that you will not disclose their name. They will never disclose. That is a basic principle you must observe.
Okay, let's make this our last question. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir, for making us a very insightful evening. A quick question. When the police department at all ranks and they are expected to be catching the criminals or prosecuting or, investigating, what kind of training is being offered? Are they well equipped, well trained to observe? Like I recall that chappal stitch and that your observation that everyone has that signature. Now there is some insight you have. Do people in police department get trained, or if you could just throw some light on that?
Scientific investigation, how to do, is taught to us. But there's something which sixth sense tells you, and it can't be taught in any way. No, the observation is simple observation. Anybody can do it. So everything cannot be taught. Now, of course, we have got academies. Formerly, when I went to police training, it was called police training school. Now it is called the academy. So a lot of advancement has done. Very reputed people are employed to teach people. But as I said in the beginning, everything depends on attitude. If you have a good attitude to help, then you can be a very successful policeman. If you have attitude to extort and make money, then you are a bad policeman. You can't help.
So I think this has left us with a lot of hope, and that when we next visit a police station, we will meet a good policeman, and ideally somebody like Zende Saab. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very
all.
much.